All right. What is up, Angie's League? Happy week 13 to everybody. And just want to start off by saying a big congratulations to Ryan Residlow for essentially locking up the first spot, even with the loss and a win. Uh, that points four cannot be caught. So big congratulations. I'll have to go back and look after depending on what you score this week. But he's definitely in the runnings for one of the highest points for totals in a regular season that I can remember ever since. Maybe like Greg's big year. Congratulations also to Wink and Weezer for locking in spots in the playoffs. Even though I believe Wink got absolutely crushed last week, he still is safe. He was safe last week, but he is essentially. He's not locked in at the 2 spot, but he's locked in either second or third. If Weezer wins, more than likely he'll be second just because of their points differential. Wink has a pretty low points for, actually one of the lowest points for in the league. You can talk about record all you want, but your points for is garbage. But you're still 8-4, so nice job getting some lucky matchups and fucking limping into the playoffs. Weezer wins second place. Weezer loses, probably still in the third place. Really, the only person that could honestly pass Weezer, unless he had just a dud week, would either be myself, Sarah, maybe Greg. But we'll get into why it would either be myself or Greg or Sarah. It couldn't be all three. It would only be possibly 2 of the 3. And also congratulations to Bryce for locking in the last place spot. He is now 2-10, and I believe if he loses this week, it might be, I have to go back and look, the worst record in history for this league. So that's a huge congratulations. Now let's just kind of move up the board. We're going to go person by person just to see where everybody can kind of fall in. So Ian did win last week. That was a big win also over Ozan. What was the final score there? Let me check that quick. Ian, 81-73. Just a huge performance from Metcalf. It's kind of a bummer. I wish, to get to see more of Metcalf in our fantasy playoffs, but we probably won't. Ian is statistically you're not out, but in the reality you have less than 1% chance of making it. So Ian, the only way you could make the playoffs is you need to win your matchup this week, and you're playing Amanda. So if you win this week, obviously you go to 6-7. But however, your points for are so low, so you would need Sandy to lose, and you would need to outscore her by roughly 70-ish points. You need to score basically 71 points more than Sandy, and that would only, even in that scenario, even if other people lost, you would still only be in the 8th spot. Excuse me, not the 8th spot. You would still only be in the 9th spot. So, the next, other than Sandy in the bottom half, the lowest points for is Ozan. And he's sitting at 1269, and you're sitting at 1117. So unless you had a week where you just drop like squid level 180 something points, and they drop like a Greg level like 44 points, like it's just not going to happen. I'm not saying it can't happen, but realistically, it's just not looking in your favor. So I'm just going to call it right now, unfortunately, and say that Ian is not going to make the playoffs. Now, same record, Denny. Same record, different story. Denny has 1370 or 1317. Let's just say 1318, just to round up, points. And that's one of the, honestly, from what I'm just kind of just glancing, because I'm doing this all pretty quick and live, he's in like the top 4 or 5 for 24. The only people ahead of him are Squid, Weezer, and myself. Yeah, he's fourth most points for, and he's sitting very solidly in 9th. So this week, Denny, starters, you have to win your matchup. I mean, you lose, you're just not going to make it. So you're playing Wink, and as of right now, it's projected a pretty close game, but that can always change. Projections don't mean much unless they're a pretty big separation. You guys are only projected like a 3-point differential. So you have to win your game, which would put you at 6-7. And here's the thing: you win your game this week. Myself and Greg are playing each other, so that's big for everybody that is tied at 6-6, because that's a guaranteed that somebody at 6-6 is going to lose this week, whether it's me or Greg. Ideally, you want Greg to lose because my points for being just a little bit more than yours. Let's say you win and I lose, but if you don't outscore me by at least 14 points, 13 points, if you don't outscore me by like 13 points, even if I lose, then you still wouldn't make the playoffs. Or at least I would still be ahead of you. You could still make the playoffs even if I lost, but if that matchup particularly, you're going to be cheering. Ideally, you would be cheering for me over Greg, just because Greg's points fours are a little lower than you, but again, not by much. He's only behind you by about 25 or so, 24 or so. So you just, for starters, you need a win. Sandy would. You can't. I mean, if Sandy loses, that would help. That's going to bump you up right away. And here's the thing: we've got a lot of matches. So we've got me and Greg 6-6 matchup. Weezer is playing Squid. Really, that matchup doesn't affect anybody. The only person that matchup affects is Wink in terms of whether or not he's getting seeded second or third. So we can kind of basically, for the rest of the league, just kind of scratch that matchup from any other, factors into this. Ian playing Amanda. So if Amanda loses, she doesn't have a ton of points for, at least compared to you, Denny, because you're fourth. So Amanda loses, and this is another big one. Sarah is playing Sandy, which is another 6-6 game. So yeah, actually, I didn't realize. So Sandy and Sarah, and myself and Greg, both playing each other. All four of us at 6-6, guaranteed for the rest of the league that there's going to be 2 6-6s that are guaranteed to lose. Now, from those teams that you want to lose, I would say you probably want Sarah to win, and you probably want me to win, just because Sarah is very close to you in points for, and Sandy could not catch you. In a realistic world, could not catch you right now in points for. And Sandy probably really couldn't catch too many people unless there was, again, that 180 situation versus 50 situation kind of matchup. So Sandy really needs to win her game. But for you, Denny, you win your game, you bump right up, and you're going to have two people that are automatically going to lose, whether it's Amanda is losing or Sandy's losing, or Amanda is losing potentially, or that Sarah or Sandy's going to lose, or myself or Greg. So you just need a win. Like, you really just need to win this week, and it will probably be good to go. Because statistically, yeah. So let's just get into the more the depths of that. So we'll move right up to Sandy. Sandy 6-6, one of the lowest points for. I think she actually has the third lowest points for. The only two people that are scoring less than her are Ian and Bryce. So Sandy had a really hot start this year, and then has kind of just been very stagnant. And she's been sitting at that 6-6. And I said at the beginning of the year, the magic number is 6 for this league. It might be set. The magic number might be 7 this year. We've never had it this close with all the variables that could be happening and going on. So Sandy, starting right up, you have to win. You win, you're basically in, because you win this week, and it doesn't matter if Denny wins, you'll still have a better record. And you winning this week would beat Sarah, which would immediately push her lower than you. And right there, boom, boom, that's two people that you just need to beat 2 people this week. But yeah, you basically win, and you flip with Sarah. You win, you're in. 7 is the magic number right now. Anybody that's 6-6 and wins, you're in, just because of the matchups. Let's go on the hypothetical. Let's kind of dig down this rabbit hole and see if I can just ramble on to see what happens if you lose. So you lose, and shit, I have pen too. Kenzie's moving everything around here. There's the can. All right, whatever. Fuck it. So you lose, and so right there, you lose. Sarah's automatically 7-6. So then, in that case, yeah, just based off your points for, you lose. You're still out because right now you're sitting outside. You're sitting in that 9th spot, and even with everybody else losing because of your points for, like you would have to score a lot of. The only person you could realistically catch is maybe Ozan or Amanda. But that's still really like 70, 80 points is really hard to fucking make up. And you just need a monster week. Right now, Sarah has projected a few people. She has 2 people on a bye, so you might win. She has 2 people on a bye. Once she changes her lineup, the projection will probably be closer. But you never know. But yeah, Sandy, for your situation, you have to win. That's basically what it is. There's no other option. I don't think you can get in if you lose. So realistically, for the rest of the league, not Bryce and Ian. They're kind of irrelevant at this point. But for everybody else at 6-6, if Sandy and Denny lose, we're fine. It doesn't. Your games don't matter. Your games won't matter if Sandy and Denny lose. That's that. Now we'll move to Ozan. Ozan this week is playing Bryce. Wow. Fucking lucky. So who knows? Bryce could be Bryce probably wants. I know Bryce is out of it, but Bryce probably wants to win this game. Bryce, you win this game, you could really rain on Ozan's fucking parade here. Again, you win, you're in. Ozan, you lose here. You need Sandy and Denny to lose. Or you would need, if let's say Denny won, you would need Sandy and Amanda to lose. But yeah, you win, you're in. That's kind of where we're at this point. Like you win, you're probably in. But Ozan, you lose, you need Amanda. Greg's kind of. Greg losing would definitely benefit you more than myself losing, just because of the points for. If you lost, hypothetically saying, but because there's only a 2-point differential between you and Amanda, you would want her to lose. But again, Denny and Sandy loses, we're all in. So, but if Denny wins and Sandy loses, you would need Amanda to lose as well. And Amanda's playing Ian, so it could happen. Ian won last week. All right, let's move up to Amanda. Amanda playing Ian. So again, Amanda, you need a win. If you lose, Amanda, you either need Sandy and Denny to lose. You need Ozan, or you need Sandy, Denny, or Ozan. 2 of those 3 people need to lose for you to make the playoffs. Simple as that. If you win, you're in. It's just the way the matchups have worked out for some of us. This things were getting a little trickier here because now Greg and I'm just gonna say Sarah is kind of Sarah needs to win too. We'll go back to Greg and myself after this, but Sarah's playing Sandy, so we'll deal with this one, then we'll flip flop back. So Sarah playing Sandy. Sarah wins, you're in. Simple as that. Sarah loses. Okay, that means Sandy's 7-6, and Sarah drops down to 6-7. You would need Denny to lose for sure, because his points for are. Unless you had like a monster, like a pretty good week, you're about almost 20 points behind him. just about 20 points with the decimal and everything. So you need to make that deficit if you lost and Denny won in order to stay ahead of Denny. Now, even if that happened, you would drop. You're basically going to flip flop spots with Sandy right now, so you would drop down to 9. However, if now you have my matchup, which is will come back, so you know that you're going to drop down to 9 just right there, regardless. Now, Sandy and Denny lose, and obviously it doesn't matter. But let's say Denny wins and you lost, which means Sandy would win. Now you have the matchup between me and Greg. One of us has to lose. And as of right now, you are beating Greg in points. And you're behind me by like 33-ish points. So you'd either need to outscore me if I lost 2, or you would need just if Greg lost and he's only 4-ish points behind you. So if Greg loses and you lose, you still need to you basically need to outscore him straight up. So those are most of your paths to victory because one of us has to lose. I mean, again, like if Denny wins, you would need Ozan. You could have Ozan and Amanda lose, and you're still going to make the playoffs. More than likely, just unless Amanda has a pretty big week and outscores you, or Ozan has a pretty big week and outscores you, they have about a 30-ish, 25, 30-point deficit between you. So those are your options. Now, let's flip it back over and we'll go to Greg and myself because they're kind of intertwined at this point. So, Greg, if you lose, you drop to 6 and 7. Now, that means that either Sandy loses or Sarah. Again, you want Sandy to lose this week because you and Sarah are so close in points for that. I mean, it would take all the stress right out of having to worry about scoring more points and whatnot. So if Sandy loses, Danny loses, you're obviously in. Sandy wins. That means Sarah drops down. You'll have to outscore her this week. And if Denny wins too, then you would need at least Ozan or Amanda as well to also lose. Just one of those two if Denny also won. Now, if Sarah wins, that keeps Sandy down there. And if you lose, Sarah wins, Sandy stays down. And basically, if Sandy wins if Sarah wins her matchup against Sandy, that's going to put Sandy right in the 10th spot for everybody. And then you would just need either Ozan or Amanda to also lose, which would pop them down into that 9th spot. And that's basically the same scenario for myself. So there's a lot. Really, right now, the people that are sitting decently well are Sarah and myself and kind of Greg. It's a little different because it's just there's all these variables and stuff that could happen. Generally speaking, for the majority of the league, all those people, all of us, Ozan, Amanda, Greg, Sarah, and myself, need Sandy and Denny to lose. If Denny loses this week, it saves a lot of stress for people. Denny is really going to be the factor here because his points for are so high. He's going to push everyone down that he is tied with. So Denny wins and he's in, and it's going to fuck with a lot of other people. So, and like I said, Weezer, Wink, and Zidlow their matchups don't really matter other than like seeding issues. And again, who gets that A spot? Who has to play Squid first round? He's on Ozan is convinced his team is not that good, and Ozan has the best team on paper in the league. Yet Squid is on a 6-game win streak, has the most points for, and has a pretty solid amount of points against. Actually, more points against than Ozan, who claims that his team is the best if it's not injured or healthy. Which, I mean, a lot of people could say here in this league. Really, the fact that's speaking more to is Weezer being 7-5 with no Christian McCaffrey. So that's another team to look out for this week. Also, just looking at Weezer's team, his whole team's on a fucking bye this week. So he's probably really happy he won last week. That's about it. If you have any questions, you can just shoot them to me or whatever. Just keep an idea, or there's no game today, but just keep an idea of what's happening in COVID stuff. The playoffs are, I could already tell you it's going to be kind of fucky just because I can see games getting canceled or postponed or moved. So really stay vigilant. Yeah, that's about it. So best of luck to everybody. The waiver, oh yeah, that's the last thing. So waivers have been pushed obviously back because of the game. So that will go through tonight. So if you haven't made your claims already, go ahead and make your claims today, and they will go through tomorrow, and then you'll be able to go from there. So thanks again, guys. Best of luck. And as always, go Pack Go.